Hare Okay, so you can try that. So we'll begin from chapter 1, text number 22. And that one's a combined verse. So we'll start on text 23. Chapter 1, text 23. Please. Okay, so we'll do the Sanskrit and the translation together. Yotyamananam aviksheham ya ete tra samagata dhartarashtrasya durbudher yudhe priya chikirshava. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Text 24. Sanjaya uvacha evam ukto hrishikesho purakakshena bharata senayor upayor madhye stapayit bharatotamam. You're doing that? You're doing that? Huh. Yeah, maybe Bhakti Joseph's doing it from upstairs. Very nice. Okay, text 25. If we miss some, we'll just have to kind of go with it. Bhishma Drona Pramukata Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kurunite. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, Rishikesha, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus who are assembled here. Text 26. Tatra pashyat stithan Partha pitrinatta pitamahan acharyan matulan bhartrin putran pautran sakimstata shvashuran suhridaschaiva senayorupayorapi. There, Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers, all present there. Text 27. Tan samikshya sukonteya sarvan bandhun avastitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidan idam abravit. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna uvacha drishtve mam svajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupastitam sidanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishusyati. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Text 29. Vipatushcha sharire me aroma harshascha jayate dandivam sram sate hastat tyavakt jaiva parityate. My whole body is trembling and my hair is standing on end. My bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand. My skin is burning. Text 30. Na cha shaknom yavastatum brahmativa chame manah nimittam cha pashyami viparitani keshava. Now I am unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I foresee, O killer of the Keshi demon. Text 31. Na cha shreyo nupashyami hatva svajanam ahave na kankshe vijayam Krishna na cha rajang sukhani cha. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Text 32 through 35. Kim no rajena govinda, kim bogarji vitenava, yesham arte kankshitam no, rajam boga sukhani cha, ta ime vastita yudhe, pranam styaktva danani cha, acharya pitara putras tataiva cha pitamaha matula shvashura putra shyala sambandhinastata etana hantum ichhami natopi madhusudana api trailokya rajasya heto kimnu mahi krite nahatya dhartarashtrana kapi priti syat janardana. O Govinda, of what avail to us are kingdoms, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and all relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, then why should I wish to kill them, though I may survive? O maintainer of all creatures, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. Very nice. So that'll be the last one. Okay, so let us go back to text number, what was it? 23. Okay, so chapter 1, text number 23, translation and purport. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Purport. It was an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans, in collaboration with his father, Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them in the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were, but he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side. So these verses, they're setting the scene, and it's entitled "Observing the Armies." So this verse is kind of the namesake of the whole chapter. Observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Arjuna here is saying, let me see those who have come here to fight. And in this purport, Prabhupada is actually explaining how at this point, Arjuna wasn't feeling the weight yet of the fight, because he says here that he wanted to see who had joined their side, right? And how strong were they, you know? So he hadn't kind of broken down yet, which is coming in a few verses. After he sees who's there, he starts to get, you know, choked up and he feels nervous. So there's many things which can be explained about these verses by those who are very conversant with the Mahabharata, and there's a lot of interweaving characters here which can all be spoken about. So many times you hear very proficient speakers, they speak about the backstories and what has led up to this moment. One such pastime that I have heard was that on a previous occasion, Arjuna practically single-handedly defeated the Kurus. There was a different occasion when he actually defeated them, and Yudhishthir asked Arjuna basically to release them, and Bhima couldn't handle it. He was irate that well, actually, I think I'm mixing two of the stories. So there was one time when I got that part mixed up. There's one time when Bhima was really upset because the Kurus had been defeated by some Gandharvas. That was a different one. But on a different occasion, Arjuna actually defeated all of the Kurus. So he was very competent. That was the point I was trying to make, was that it's not as if he couldn't defeat them. So in this purport, Prabhupada is kind of bringing about how he was still in his Kshatriya, state of mind, and he was quite confident of victory. And specifically, there was that whole scene which Krishna was describing yesterday, how Arjuna and Duryodhana were able to request Krishna for support in certain ways. He basically said, I'm not going to fight, but I'll drive. And the other side, and he said, the other side can get my army, which, Krishna's army, that's, those are heavy hitters. They defeated all types of, rascals like Jarasandha so many times. And other forces, and they have a special name too. And there's some more information which can be learned about those specific warriors that were part of his personal army. And as Maharaj was discussing earlier, well, actually I heard a lecture earlier today that Maharaj, he gave a class while we were on our way to the Sadhu Sangha this year. And he spoke about how there was the sons of Krishna, or the grandsons, and they were feeling a little mischievous. So they played a trick on Narada Muni, of all people, and many sages who were with him. And they put this, they put something under the belly of one of the boys, and he pretended that it was like, he was pregnant, and he kind of dressed himself so he was like a lady. And they came to the sages and they asked for a blessing, that they will bless the child and this and that. And obviously the sages, they understood, what was happening. But the main thing they understood was that these boys had uh, had lost their respect. They had decided to take their relationship with the sages very cheaply. You know, respect is such a thing that um, one has to practice or exercise it. RESPECT, find out what it means to me, right? It's a big thing. And it's really important. And though we may not always agree with each other, there is a way to respect each other, and it comes out in our tone of voice and the way that we, physically associate with each other and so on. So the sages could understand that the boys who were part of this Yadu dynasty or Krishna's family line, which is described in the Gita, the Krishna book, how he had 16,108 wives with whom he had children. He obviously had other, those are the ones with whom he had the children and the associates, and there was 10 children by each wife. And each of those children had 10 children, like that. So his dynasty was huge. And it was a big deal, and it was, and he had, it's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam purports that Krishna desired that the Yadu dynasty basically be wrapped up and transported back to their places, and that he didn't want the dynasty to remain on the earth planet in the same way, basically. And when the boys came to Narada Muni and they had shown that disrespect, then it was weaved in with the Lord's desire that the dynasty be removed from the earth. And this is how he does things. One stroke, he does many things. So we're going to get to the end of that Leela. But here, Arjuna is feeling a little bit confident. He, as opposed, I'm weaving many Leelas together. So as opposed to Duryodhana, who got Krishna's army, who, like we have heard in the Krishna book, defeated so many, forces, demoniac forces. Arjuna got Krishna to be his driver. Krishna was also famous as an expert chariot driver, which you can understand is quite the art, You got this chariot, which is being pulled by horses. The battlefield, who knows what kind of, terrain is there, warriors all over the place. And there's, that's rad. So Krishna was really good at that. He was known like that. But Arjuna also was a devotee. Arjuna had seen Krishna do things which only the Supreme Personality of Godhead can do. And he had the eyes and the heart, the attitude to appreciate the Lord. He wasn't like the fools and rascals who actually deride the Lord when he appears in a human form, you could say. That's the way Prabhupada wrote it. When I descend in my human form, that means when he is acting like a regular human. That's called, from this morning, Uru Krama. Okay, so the point I'm trying to say is that Arjuna was feeling confident because he was the best, but also because Krishna was his driver, right? So similarly, the point I was trying to make was that Krishna is inspiring Arjuna to feel a little confident and want to size up the enemy, just so the whole Bhagavad Gita will be spoken. So he can do so many things to arrange the pastimes. He's inspiring all his devotees from within to set up so many pieces of the puzzle. So the point I was trying to make was that the Yadu boys, the boys of the Yadu dynasty, went there to Narada Muni and they gave a blessing. They said, this child will be the destruction of the dynasty. That was their blessing for him. So what happened? It was a like a steel ore, and it was ordered to be ground up. It came from the belly. So like, there's more details to it, but basically there was this ore. There was a steel, that they had put underneath, and they took it to Ugrasena, and it was ordered to be destroyed, shredded, and it was shredded and thrown into the ocean. And I mean, Krishna is amazing. So he set this up, and that ore floated onto the beach and became a type of a reed. Sometimes at the beach, there's kind of like some stocky plants that are like living at the edge of the water. Yeah, like a cattail type of thing. So these reeds, they were made of this steel thing. These filings went there and somehow grew this plant, and eventually were used by the whole Yadu dynasty. After getting drunk on some rice wine, they killed each other with these sticks, and they all disappeared. They just killed, everyone was gone. The whole dynasty got drunk and they just killed each other. So I was actually going somewhere with all that, but I lost my track because I went on too many tangents. So these are the wonderful things that Lord Krishna can do and that he does. And yes, I was mentioning about Maharaj was speaking about this one. So yeah, there's many things to say about the characters here. And we'll kind of continue. We'll see what all Prabhupada has to say. Usually the purports for these first verses are generally a little bit brief. So maybe we do that yagya and we hear all these purports before I get carried away. Okay, here we go. Text 24. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, being thus addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Purport. In this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gudakesha. Gudak means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesha. Sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, The devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, quality, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness or samadhi. As Rishikesh, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus he did so and spoke as follows. So I heard that this Gudakesha, at one point, Arjuna considered that by not sleeping, he could learn how to become the best archer in the world. So he decided not to sleep anymore, and he would practice archery at night. And this is the type of determination that's required for the devotees, that they become so determined to become Krishna conscious that they're willing to, constantly put that work in, to do it. So part of our process to become Krishna conscious is to stay healthy. It's not possible to be healthy in mind or intelligence or body without taking rest. But when you do take rest, it does influence, it is in the mode of ignorance, and it influences the consciousness in adverse ways. So those things must be counteracted through proper procedure, which luckily has been given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas and by Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. Specifically, this book, Hari Bhakti Vilas, is the guidebook for devotional service. And in that, it discusses how one has to perform bathing and most importantly, a mental cleansing by chanting the Lord's holy names. So the procedure for devotees is that as soon as they rise, they chant the names of the Lord. In one purport, Prabhupada says, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or at least Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. That's how he writes it. Should immediately chant upon rising from sleeping, rest. One should chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or at least Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And he cited one example how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, as soon as he would wake up, he would chant Krishna, Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya was very pleased with him. Said, this is very nice behavior. So then, according to the ISKCON Didi manuals and procedures, then one pays obeisances to the guru. And he says his pranam mantras to his guru. And what happens is he fixes his mind on the positive goal. Like by fixing one's mind on the positive goal of surrendering one's life to Krishna via the spiritual master, one becomes free from all the negative influences and negative thoughts which may be lingering. When we take rest, the mode of ignorance prevails, and things like fear, anxiety, and lusty type of desires are the main things that are happening in that dream world for conditioned souls. Here we're hearing that those who are Gudha Kesha, they don't have that because they constantly think of Krishna, name, form, fame, qualities, pastimes, etc., sleeping or awake. Yes. Yeah. Wait for the mic real quick.
Ooh, this is really nice, and I'm really fired up to start trying this. But I do have one doubt about it, which is whenever I try to do something spiritual to solve my problems, somehow or other, when it doesn't work one time or two times or three times, I get really discouraged and I just end up saying it doesn't work at all. And logically, it doesn't make sense, but just my mind is so uncontrolled. It's that it doesn't think, it doesn't like, it doesn't think past this. At least not before, not in the past. So I'm just wondering, like, uh, what is the way um to not lose faith in the scripture, even if it's uh even if it seems like it's not working.
That's a nice question. That's very, yeah, very real question. And devotees, they face this a lot. If we are heavily um, influenced by the modes of nature, then we have to fight extra hard. And it's actually a type of special mercy from Krishna because we have to take a lot of shelter. So if we have heavy, if the boat, like we heard this morning, Mars was mentioning, oh no, I keep getting confused because I was listening to that lecture in the car. So we were on the way to Sadhu Sangha and Mars was talking about how I asked him a question whether the varieties that of the varieties of service that devotees perform to Krishna, is it a function of the svarup, spiritual identity, or is it a function of the modes of nature that they're coming from? Like, why does one devotee like to do the kirtan this way, and another devotee does it that way? Another devotee likes to cook sabji. Another devotee likes to cook pakoras, big pizza, and the other guy likes to do rice and dal. It's all within bounds. Why is it different? And Maharaj was stating that for the pure devotee, it has nothing to do with the modes. But for the mixed devotees, they're in the boat, but it's getting rocked by the waves. So you may be able to tell when a certain wave comes and rocks the boat in a certain way. But as long as they're in the boat of Krishna consciousness, then they're heading towards the pure platform, not being affected at all. But if you get out of the boat, then you're crashed by the waves, or it's pretty much like a tsunami. You're drowning. Then you're really going to be pulled. Say somebody has a certain nature, but they're within the bounds of Krishna consciousness. You may kind of see it show, but they're still safe because they're serving Krishna. The point I'm trying to make is that when we're very heavily affected by the modes, by our karma, then the boat really rocks. So you got to make sure you hold on tight. Does that make sense? So that's a special mercy because that holding tight, that's your credit. That's what Krishna sees. That's what Krishna wants. Surrender. So what it looks like externally, one devotee may not get rocked so much. So they don't have to hold so tight. Right? And if they get a little lax, they might think that maybe they can, play on the edge, but there may be a little wave that comes and they do fall off, because they weren't holding tight. They got a little bit content in their service. They weren't afraid enough of Maya. Then they fell off and now they're in real danger, right? But the devotee that's getting rocked, never letting go, right? So that's an intellectual. One has to understand intellectually that Krishna consciousness is the eternal occupation of the soul. And I may not get all the results I want to see right away, but the results aren't up to me anyway. I'm just serving Krishna best of my ability. That's who I am. So I don't really have a choice to serve Krishna or not. That type of conviction is earned by sincere practice, and by association. Association of those who have that conviction gives that one will get that faith and conviction, right? So we're doing that. We're associating with Prabhupada by following his instructions, listening to his words, and we're also associating with the other devotees who have come in the footsteps of Prabhupada. And when we associate with the desire and the openness, the softness of the heart to receive blessings, that type of association is very potent, and one will become they will become much more faithful when the attitude of association is very soft. Like I need this person's mercy. You ever notice that? If you just really have that mood to try to please and serve and receive blessings and encouragement and faith, you can associate with every devotee with that attitude to be encouraged. You associate with every devotee trying to get a little piece of their conviction to serve Krishna. I need that. I need that nectar from every flower. Then you're like a honeybee, So then you always have a reason to be inspired, When we associate in a closed way and in a proud way or fearful way, etc., then it's hard for us to get encouraged and to get faith, So those are some things. Many people face this, and it's very, it's a shame actually. It's a shame. It's a very, it hurts the heart that devotees become dissatisfied with service, um, that they feel like it's not working. But those who hold on tight, regardless if they're getting rocked around, if they hold on tight, they will make it to the other shore, And in a very short time, they'll be able to notice huge results. Huge results have already been made. Light year speed. When a devotee engages in devotional service, bhakti yoga, especially in this Kali Yuga, the spiritual advancement is super fast. And temple life with the proper attitude is super fast. Attitude, the advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So if we develop that sincere service attitude and we try to get inspired and more convinced and more faithful from every single interaction, from every service, then temple life is like super speed, advancement. But in general, Kali Yuga is prayed for by the demigods because it's super fast. In other yugas, You have to take so many thousands of years to reach samadhi, full absorption, in the transcendental platform. Krishna consciousness can be achieved in short time. Say you work your whole life to become fully Krishna conscious, right? If you leave your body working towards becoming fully Krishna conscious, and following all the principles which Prabhupada has given, then he has guaranteed that you can go back to Godhead. In one sense, it's also up to Krishna, but it's undoubtable that we have made progress by this service to Krishna. If one practices these principles, which are like chanting the Lord's holy names, bathing according to the verdict of the scriptures, serving the deity, etc., follow the scriptures, it's actually self-evident. The Vedas are self-evident. Means that it's like when they're applied properly with love and faith for pleasing Krishna, then it's self-evident that it's working, and no one has to tell you that you're more Krishna conscious, or that no one has to tell you that you're actually a more satisfied person, right? That's when we're really doing the thing. And that's what is said by Rupa Goswami, that when one takes this process really seriously, they don't need any external like assurance that it's working, They feel closer to Krishna, and they're pleased, they're satisfied, and they're content through that service. So if we don't feel like it's working yet, it's not a reason to stop trying. It's a reason to try more, because I asked Maharaj one time, I said, if Krishna consciousness means stay high forever, why am I going on a roller coaster every day? He said, you haven't gotten high yet. You haven't even gotten high. You're still low. So I didn't get high yet. I'm still low. I didn't get high. So then that's the reason why it's like, it's the reason why to keep trying, because I want to feel like what it's like to be high, and to stay high. So that's a good reason to keep going, and how to get high, make Krishna pleased, give Krishna a little high, and how does he get high? He wants your love. That's his pleasure. That's his drug, you could say. And that's why you exist. Because you give him a little special high that he cannot live without. Or else why would you live? You give him that little high that he likes by your service attitude, by your loving offering to him. Not the object, but the consciousness, the attitude. That's the love that he wants. So we want to get high. We know how to do it is to become selfless. And we become selfless by serving the spiritual master by the regulations of the Shastras. So we can have confidence and faith that it works. Krishna says himself in the Gita that many others have done it in the past, right? Many others have done it. So we see some of them. There's many that we don't see, that we never heard of, but we can take heart in the stories of Narada Muni, Dhruva, Prahlad Maharaj. So many wonderful leelas are there. Gajendra, all these leelas, and so many more from the Chaitanya Charitamrita that are super nectar, that are maybe more close to home. So the student or the disciple has a duty to be inspired. Spiritual master agrees to try his best to inspire, but it's actually the duty of the disciple to be inspired, to take heart, to take courage, to take inspiration, from so many wonderful things to take inspiration from. So if we're seeing too much in the dark, if it feels too black, too hopeless, it's very simple. Internally, you approach the Lord, the spiritual master, or externally, you approach the deities, the kirtan, the books, the devotees, and you say, show me some light. What, show me the bright side. I'm not seeing it. And then we can see. Okay, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.